My name is Cameron Ellis, and the worst part about Christmas dinner isn't the dry turkey or the fact that my mom still insists on playing Michael Bublé, like it's a federal mandate. It's that one person always thinks they're the star of the evening. This year, it was my brother Daniel. He always sits at the head of the table like he earned it through battle, not because he's 6 years older and mildly better at carving ham. Daniel, with his cuffed sleeves, his two children, who don't know how volume works, and his wife, whose teeth never touch her wine glass when she sips. And this year, Daniel decided the main course would be me. But you might actually regret skipping this part. So before you sit back and listen, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the Final Revenge channel, but only if you really like what I have to say here. Now get in the mood to listen to this story because it might be the ultimate sweet revenge. Dinner started like any other forced family gathering. Politeness seasoned with passive aggression. My mom said grace. My dad reminded everyone about his back surgery again, and my niece smeared mashed potatoes on her iPad like it was abstract art. I'd just passed the cranberry sauce to my sister when Daniel Wine, already warming his cheeks, leaned back in his chair and smirked. That's always the warning sign. Daniel doesn't smirk unless something mean is about to come gift-wrapped in a joke. He raised his glass to family secrets and finally not having to pretend anymore. My stomach sank before he even said it. Then casually, like he was reading a weather report, and to Cameron for finally being honest about his roommate situation. The fork froze halfway to my mouth. Everyone looked at me. My mom blinked like her contacts had fogged. My aunt coughed into her napkin. My niece asked what a roommate situation was, and Daniel just drank. Now here's the context. I've never formally come out to my family, not because I'm ashamed, not because I'm hiding, but because I didn't think it was anyone's business, especially not during dinner sandwiched between green bean casserole and lukewarm yams. Yes, I live with a man. Yes, he's more than my roommate. Yes, we've been together for 2 years. And yes, Daniel found out months ago. I told him in confidence in the quiet of his garage while he adjusted Christmas lights and made fun of my electric car. And now, he decided Christmas dinner was the right place to toss that grenade into the stuffings. I smiled. I smiled because that's what you do when you've been hit and you're not ready to bleed yet. My sister said something. I didn't hear it. My dad laughed awkwardly. My mom finally whispered, "We'll talk later." I looked at Daniel. He looked away. You know how sometimes you don't know someone's capacity for cruelty until they smile while doing it? That was the moment. I finished my wine, poured another glass, ate the rest of my dinner in silence, chewing betrayal like it was too tough turkey. He wanted control. That's what I realized. He didn't do it to help me come out. He did it to own the moment, to make himself the mouthpiece of my truth with a punchline to go. And everyone else just let it happen. After dinner, people filtered into the living room. Gifts were passed around. I sat next to the Christmas tree, watched colored lights blink like Morse code. My partner Eli wasn't there. He was spending Christmas with his own family, and thank God. I didn't want him to see this. Daniel tossed me a present. "Hope it's not another scented candle," he said with a wink. I didn't open it. I left early blaming a headache. But I didn't go home. I went to war. You wake up the next morning and your pillow still smells like salt, either from your hair or your ego. There's a sting behind your eyes, the kind that doesn't come from tears, but from restraint. You didn't cry. You didn't punch him. You just swallowed it down with cranberry sauce and politeness like a good little brother. You remember every detail, the clink of the wine glass, the tilt of his head, the exact tempo of silence that followed. You shuffle into the kitchen and stand there for a minute, not sure if you want coffee or revenge more. You decide both. Coffee first. Revenge with cream. The kitchen radio plays something festive and fake. You turn it off. Then your phone buzzes. Group chat. Ellismas Crew, a name your sister insisted on after the first coordinated pajama photo 5 years ago. You don't want to read it. You do anyway. Daniel. Great dinner last night, everyone. Cam, you good? Your sister. Seriously, that joke was out of line. Mom. We'll talk about it soon. Maybe New Year's. You stare at the screen. Maybe New Year's. You text back. Glad to know my identity is a holiday side dish. No one responds. You sip your coffee and let the bitterness roll over your tongue like a wave that's never quite finished crashing. Then your phone pings again. This time from Daniel directly. You were gonna tell them eventually. I just gave you a nudge. You almost throw your phone into the sink. Instead, you type, "You didn't give me a nudge. You shoved me into traffic." He replies with a thumbs up, and that's when it happens. The shift. That little voice in your chest, usually whispering self-preservation, clears its throat. You're not going to explain yourself. You're going to return the favor. The next day you show up at his house. You've still got a few things there. Old books, an ugly sweater you lent his son. He's not home, but his wife is. Sarah. Sarah greets you with that Midwestern cheer that feels like it's covering something sticky. You're just in time. I was making peppermint bark. You say you're just grabbing your things. She offers tea. You decline. Then she mentions something about her iPad being locked. Daniel changed the password and forgot to tell her. She laughs it off, but you file that detail away. Because here's the thing about Daniel. He's not that smart. Smart enough to be cruel. Smart enough to manipulate. But not smart enough to cover his tracks when he's bored. You glance at the iPad on the counter. It lights up briefly with a notification. Just a glimpse. A text preview. Miss you. Hotel again Friday. Your brain makes a noise like tires skidding on black ice. Sarah doesn't see it. She's talking about holiday baking. You stare at the screen until it dims. Then you smile the way Daniel smiled at dinner. That night, you go home and pour a glass of wine. You start remembering the time Daniel worked late and showed up at the tail end of a school fundraiser with cologne that didn't smell like Sarah. The mystery receipts from hotel stays when his family was out of town. The weirdly formal texts he once asked you to delete from his laptop, just work stuff, he said. You ignored it then. But now you see it. You pull out your laptop and a notepad. You start listing what you know. You name the hotel chain. You remember the dates. You open a private browser and search. Reservation confirmation pages are easier to find than you expected. You start screenshotting, labeling, archiving. Each click feels like a stitch coming loose. By the time midnight rolls around, you've got a folder named Merry Friggin' Christmas. Inside, 9 screenshots, 2 hotel confirmations, and a photo from a mutual friend's Instagram, Daniel in the background arm, around someone who definitely isn't Sarah. Your hands don't even shake. You lean back in your chair and whisper to no one. You wanted the truth out in the open. Then let's do it. You don't go full nuclear the next day. Because you're not him. Daniel's a sledgehammer, you're more of a scalpel. Or a paper cut. The kind you don't notice until you dip your hand in lemon juice and scream. So instead of storming the group chat or calling Sarah in a blaze of gotcha, you do what you do best. You wait. It's the day after Boxing Day. Your mom texts asking if you want to come by for leftover casserole and a reset. You say no. She replies with a gif of a sad cat. You don't respond. Instead, you sit at your desk and plan. Step 1. Confirm. You're not going to accuse your brother of cheating based on one text notification and your inner Sherlock Holmes. That's not revenge, it's a guess. And you don't guess. You know, you go back to the iPad in your memory. The model, the notification style, the font. Then you open your laptop and search. It takes 2 hours, but you find the Apple ID. He used the same email he's used for years. You try the obvious password. It doesn't work. Then you remember. Daniel uses his birthday for everything. Wrong. Wait, Sarah's birthday. Click. You're in. You open iCloud. Photos are syncing. Messages. Calendar entries. You feel like you're peeling an onion dipped in gasoline. The texts are all there. A woman named Elena. Messages full of winks, inside jokes. Photos that are soft-core enough to avoid scandal, but pointed enough to raise hell. And then there's the hotel confirmation. Booked just 2 days before Christmas. Looking forward to unwrapping you, not presents. Your stomach twists. Not because he cheated, honestly. That's not even shocking. But because this is a man who turned your life into a party trick at Christmas dinner while living a second life behind the scenes. You forward everything to a secure folder. Then you screenshot each message, each confirmation, and every smug little emoji he's ever sent Elena. You create a file. Not labeled something petty like, Daniel is a cheating rat, but rather tastefully. Holiday documentation. You think about Sarah again. Her laugh. Her kindness. The way she always sends you pumpkin bread on your birthday even when she's traveling. You don't owe her anything, but you feel something anyway. You text her. Can I drop something off tomorrow? Something I think you should see. She replies 3 dots. Then, of course. Everything okay? You type. Depends what you define as okay. You don't sleep much that night. Your brain keeps replaying Daniel's smug face, the clink of the wine glass, the shock in your mother's eyes. You toss, you turn, you stare at the ceiling. But by morning, you know exactly what you're going to do. Not just for you, for her. You drive to their house with the kind of focus usually reserved for bomb defusal. The folder on your passenger seat feels radioactive. Even your Spotify playlist knows what's coming. It shuffles to Silent Night, which is wildly inappropriate for what's about to happen. Sarah opens the door in fuzzy socks and a hoodie that says, merry and bright. She's holding a mug that reads, One Wife, and suddenly, you want to punch ceramic. Cameron, she says, smiling gently. Come in. Want coffee? You nod because manners are your armor. The house smells like cinnamon and betrayal. She leads you into the kitchen. The same one where you saw the text. The same one where Daniel once promised to keep your secret as long as you didn't make things weird at family gatherings. You sit. She pours coffee. So she says, setting down a sugar bowl. What's this about? You slide the folder toward her, quietly, like it might hiss. She frowns, opens it, starts reading. You watch her eyes. They don't widen. They don't dart. They just still. Her fingers tremble slightly, but her face, blank. You'd expect tears, maybe shock. But not this, not composure. She flips the last page, then looks up. How long have you known? You blink. Since Christmas. She nods slowly. So just a few days. You wait. She exhales, sits back, sips her coffee, then says, I've known since August. You nearly choke. What? I found a receipt in his jacket. She says, calm. Then a message. Then a hotel keycard. I kept hoping I was wrong. You never said anything. I needed proof. And now, she pats the folder. Now I have it. You stare. She's not shocked. She's activated. You're not mad at me. You ask, for what? For digging. She smiles, small sad. I'm not mad. I'm grateful. That stings more than judgment. You lean forward. So what now? She stands, walks to the fridge, pulls out a Christmas card, one of the ones your mom forced everyone to take in matching pajamas. She flips it open. There's still one envelope left, she says. You raise a brow. I'll slip this in. She continues, tucking a flash drive into the card. Anonymous. No return label. Just truth. You're impressed and terrified. You sure? Oh, I'm done pretending. You leave the house 10 minutes later with half a muffin and a whole new respect for Sarah. On the drive home, you realize something else. This isn't just your revenge anymore. It's hers too. And now, the group chat explodes on a Thursday. You're at your desk grading essays when the notifications start stacking like dominoes. Ellis Miss Crew, 32 new messages. You open the thread. Your sister. What is this? Your mom? I don't understand. Who sent this? Your dad? Daniel, is this a joke? Then Sarah. She doesn't yell. She doesn't rant. She just drops the bomb in Times New Roman plain and factual. This isn't a joke. It's screenshots of my husband's affair. Don't act surprised. You sip your tea. It's still hot. So is your inbox. Daniel finally chimes in. Sarah, we should talk privately. She replies, no. You chose to make this public. You almost laugh. You refresh the chat again, and that's when the private messages start. Your cousin Becca. Wait. Is this real? Your aunt? I thought they were perfect. Your sister. Was this you? You type and delete 3 responses. Then you settle on, he started it at Christmas dinner. He can end it here. Silence follows. Daniel doesn't reply again for hours. You go about your day. Teach a unit on irony. Think about how real life has way better plot twists than any novel. Eat lunch alone, mostly because you need the peace. At 3:13 p. He calls. You let it go to voicemail. Then you play it. Cam, his voice rasps low and desperate. We need to talk. Please. This got out of hand. You save the voicemail. When you get home, Sarah texts you. I'm okay. Just exhausted. Thanks for giving me the last piece. You don't say anything profound. Just, he's not worth your exhaustion. That night, you light a candle. Not for ambiance, for peace. You open your laptop, start editing the final receipts. You want them archived? Not for sharing, just for memory. Just in case anyone ever doubts what happened. At 1:20 m. Daniel texts again. I need to explain. You smile at the screen. He's losing control. And you're just getting started. You agree to meet him at a diner, not because you owe him anything, but because you want to see what he looks like now, off-balance, cornered without his smug holiday lighting. He shows up late. Same leather jacket, same gelled hair, but something's off. Like someone rewound his confidence a few frames. He sits, doesn't order. You ruined my life, he says before the coffee even hits the table. You lean back. You outed me at Christmas dinner like it was a game of charades. He flinches. I was drunk. You raise an eyebrow. You were cruel. There's a difference. He glances out the window. You could have just talked to me. You sip your coffee. Oh, like when I did in confidence and you weaponized it under a string of fairy lights. He sighs, rubs his temples. I didn't think it'd blow up like this. That's your problem, Daniel. You never think past your next punchline. He looks at you for the first time. Really looks. You know how this makes me look? He asks. Like someone who cheats on his wife and lies about it. That's not what I meant. You shake your head. Exactly. Then slowly you reach into your coat and pull out the iPad. He stares. You left breadcrumbs, you say, and I followed them. Because when you put my truth on the table like dessert, you gave me permission to do the same. You had no right. You had no boundaries. He leans forward, desperate now. You don't understand what it's like being trapped. Then why'd you build the cage? Silence. He doesn't cry. Daniel's not the crying type. But he looks small now. Like the story isn't bending the way he thought it would. I was going to leave her, he mutters. No, you weren't, you reply. You were going to keep both lives. Until someone dropped a match. You stand. He doesn't follow. You leave the diner, step into the cold, and feel something unexpected. Relief. Because he's not the villain you feared. He's just a man who got caught. And you're no longer his secret keeper. The screenshots are still on your desktop. You've thought about deleting them. Just dragging the folder labeled Holiday Documentation into the trash, hitting empty and watching the icon puff into digital smoke. But you haven't. Because it's not over, not yet. Daniel may have confessed in his own roundabout, wounded animal way, but he hasn't owned it. Not to the family. Not to Sarah. Not to himself. You spend the next day quietly. Tea, laundry, podcasts. You listen to one about boundary setting and how guilt is just a tool people use when they've lost control of your choices. Then your phone buzzes. Sarah, can I call you? You answer on the second ring. I found more, she says. You're sitting now on the edge of the couch. Go on, she sighs. Email drafts. To a third woman, some were never sent. But they were ready. Like he was just shopping for exits. You let that sit. You okay? I'm fine, she says. I'm weirdly calm. You nod even though she can't see it. Calm is good. I'm going to send them to you. Why? Because you started this. And you deserve to know just how deep it went. The files come through a minute later. Subject lines like, been thinking about you, and what if things were different? All recent. All time-stamped while he was supposed to be fixing things. You stare at the screen and feel something shift. He wasn't just hiding one affair. He was collecting escape routes. Later that night, you write him a message. You don't send it. You write, you didn't just out me. You erased trust. Mine. Sarah's. Everyone's. You tore something open, and now you want applause for holding the bandage. Then you delete the draft. Because he doesn't need your words. He needs his silence reflected back. The next morning, you do delete the folder. Not to forgive. But because you've finally seen enough. You never thought a coffee mug could feel accusatory, but here it is. Sarah's white ceramic one-wife cup perched neatly on her counter, steaming like it's unaware it's been drinking lies for months. She doesn't offer you coffee this time, just a seat. You take it. There's a calm to her now, not peace exactly, but steadiness, like someone who's finished crying and now sees with new clarity. I'm not staying, she says. You nod. Good. I've spoken to a lawyer. Nothing dramatic yet, just information. You want to ask how she's feeling, but you realize that's not the right question. So you ask, do you need anything? She actually smiles. No, but thank you. There's a pause. Then she opens a drawer, pulls out a small square box. I was saving this for your birthday, she says. Daniel helped pick it out. But I don't want anything in my house to have his fingerprints. You hesitate. Then open it. It's a keychain. Leather. Engraved with the quiet ones, remember everything. You laugh quietly but sincerely. She nods. Fitting, right? Very. There's a comfort between you, now that didn't exist before. Not just the shared betrayal, but the fact that you both made it through the same fire without burning each other. You start to leave, but something catches your eye, a photo on the wall. Christmas last year, the whole family, matching pajamas. Daniel's arm around Sarah's shoulder, a smile wide enough to hide a body. You wonder how many lies were in that frame. She follows your gaze. I was going to take it down. You should, I will, and, she will, not today, maybe not even this week, but soon, because she's not playing the part anymore. She's writing her own story now. And Daniel, he's no longer the main character. You don't set out to become an investigator. But when your brother demolishes your privacy in front of a honey-glazed ham and you stumble onto the digital remnants of his other life, you either close the laptop or you follow the breadcrumbs. You followed, and they led somewhere darker than you expected. It starts with a hotel name in one of his emails. You Google it, scroll through the reservation system. The address leads you to a chain in the next county, overclassy enough to suggest discretion, cheap enough to not ask questions. You call, ask for the front desk. Hi, I'm helping my brother with his taxes. Can I confirm his past stays with you? You give Daniel's name. The receptionist checks. We have multiple entries under that name. You nearly choke on your breath. How far back? First one I see is March of last year. March. That's almost 2 years ago. Long before he knew you were seeing someone. Long before you were ready to say the words aloud. Any repeat guests under that booking? She pauses. Yes. One person. Elena T. You thank her. Hang up. Elena. You already know that name from the text threads. But now it's real. Confirmed. Physical. She's not just a fantasy typed out between meetings. She's someone he spent holidays with. While Sarah wrapped gifts for their kids. You spend the afternoon building a timeline. Daniel's travel schedule. Holidays. Family events he missed with vague excuses. You pull it all into a spreadsheet so neat it could make your inner English teacher weep. The overlap is damning. You label the tabs. Sarah, Elena, drafted emails, receipts, video voicemails. It's not just infidelity anymore. It's a pattern, an ecosystem. You don't want to hurt Sarah further, but you also know something else now. He didn't just cheat. He cultivated lies, protected them, nurtured them like a side business. Later you print a copy of the spreadsheet. Not to share. To remind yourself that when people call you dramatic or vindictive, what they're really afraid of is detail. And you remember what Sarah said the day she handed you that keychain. The quiet ones remember everything. Your mom's annual family Christmas card is a tradition she guards like a national monument. Every year, matching outfits, stiff smiles, a canned message about gratitude, and at least one joke about how Daniel's kids keep growing like weeds with better Wi-Fi. This year's card lands in your mailbox 3 days late already. Suspect. You open it. There you all are. The photo from early December before the dinner, before the explosion, before anyone knew that this particular holiday would end with more fallout than frosting. You flip it open, printed inside as always. Family is the anchor in the storm. You snort. Then you pull out your version of the card. You made it last week. Ordered 10 copies from a custom print site. Clean, elegant. Same photo. Same font. But instead of a holiday greeting, there's a flash drive taped discreetly inside. Tiny, black, barely noticeable unless you're looking. Labeled in gold. Play me. You made sure it would autoplay into a clean folder labeled For Your Eyes, only followed by a series of read-only PDFs, the affair timeline screenshots, and a simple letter. The letter reads, "Sometimes honesty isn't given. It's forced. Consider this the truth Daniel wouldn't offer. See, you only made 10. One for each of the key players. One for your sister. One for your cousin Becca. One for your parents. And yes, one for Sarah. You don't drop them off. You mail them. Anonymously. Well, sort of. The handwriting's neat. The return address. Just North Pole because you still have a sense of humor. Revenge doesn't have to be joyless. You watch the tracking numbers like stock prices. The first one lands Thursday morning. By Thursday night, your mom texts, "Cameron, what is this?" You don't answer because you already know what's coming next. The family group chat combusts at exactly 7:39 p. Your mom starts it. "We need to talk about the USB. Then your sister. "What the actual hell, Daniel?" Then a rare seismic message from your dad. "Unacceptable. I'm ashamed." You sit on your couch, phone in hand, sipping hot cocoa like it's fine champagne. You've never felt this oddly peaceful while your last name trends inside a private thread. Daniel doesn't respond at first. Maybe he's still trying to control the narrative. Maybe he's panicking. Maybe he's blaming hackers. Then 20 minutes in. "This was a private matter. I can't believe you'd go this far." You type, pause, backspace, then send. "Private ended when you served my life as a holiday appetizer." He replies instantly, "You outed my marriage in front of our parents." You almost laugh. Our parents. Like you weren't both standing there when he detonated yours. Sarah joins the chat. Just 3 words. "Check the receipts." Then leaves it. Your sister adds, "I knew something was off. You were always traveling." And Becca, "Wow, your whole thing was judging people, and now this." Daniel tries again. "This is turning into a witch hunt. I made mistakes. But this is cruelty." Your mom shockingly responds, "See, mistakes don't repeat for 2 years." You drop your phone on the couch and breathe deep. You didn't write a monologue. You didn't grandstand. You just let the evidence speak. Because sometimes the most cutting voice in the room is silence, followed by unignorable facts. You get a text from Sarah. "Thank you for not letting him rewrite it." You respond, "Thank you for seeing through him." You don't check the chat again that night because you don't need to see the flames. You lit the match. Now it's just warming your hands. He shows up on your doorstep with an apology in one hand and a Starbucks cup in the other, as if caffeine might soften the blow of betrayal. You open the door but don't invite him in. "I came to talk," he says. "Not a good time," you reply. He looks tired. Like he's aged 6 Christmases in 6 days. He holds the cup out awkwardly. "It's your favorite." You take it, sip once, and deadpan oat milk. Wrong. He exhales, defeated. "Can we not do this?" "Oh, you mean the consequences thing?" He steps back. "You told everyone." "You mean like you told everyone about me?" He winces. "There it is." He lowers his voice. "I messed up." You raise an eyebrow. "Which part? The cheating, the lying, the public outburst, or the part where you tried to gaslight your way out of it all?" He rubs his face. "Look, I didn't mean to." "To what?" You cut in. "To get caught." Silence. Then, "I didn't want to lose control." You nod slowly. "You did." He finally looks at you, really looks. "Can you forgive me?" You don't answer right away. Instead, you ask why now. Why not before the USBs? Why not after dinner when you knew you crossed a line? He hesitates. "Because I didn't realize how far I'd fallen." You nod again. "That's not an apology. That's a realization." He shifts his weight, agitated now. "So what, you just hate me forever?" "No, but I don't trust you." And those aren't the same thing. He looks like he wants to argue, to reframe, to spin. But the air between you is too still. He leaves without another word. You watch him go. You still don't feel victorious. But you feel right. And that's enough. It's 2 days later when Sarah shows up at your apartment with Thai food and a look that says, "You'll want to sit down for this." You clear the coffee table. She sets the bags down like they're ceremonial. I thought you might want dumplings with your closure, she says dryly. You chuckle. You always know the right side dish for emotional chaos. She sits, cross-legged, focused. He came by. Your stomach dips. Wanted to rebuild, she says. Talked about therapy. Regret. Offered to do a couples retreat in Sedona. You blink. He hates the desert. I know, she says. He also offered to sell his car, downsize the house, and switch churches. You raise an eyebrow. He offered God. Apparently, you both laugh, but there's a sharp edge underneath. She pulls out her phone and taps a few times. Then I showed him this. It's a screenshot and email sent by Daniel weeks ago. To Elena. Still dreaming about your hair on my pillow. Time stamped 4 days before Christmas. I printed it, she adds. Put it in his glove box. Told him next time he wants redemption, he should start by emptying the skeleton drawer. You whistle. Remind me to never cross you. She grins, but then her smile fades. I knew for a while, she says, but I wasn't ready to know. Not really. Not until you handed me the truth with a ribbon. I didn't want to hurt you, you say. You didn't, she replies. You freed me. You eat quietly for a while. Then she says, you know he'll spin it. Tell people we gave up too easily. Let them talk, you say. The truth doesn't get lonely. It just gets quiet. She nods. I'm filing next week. You clink spring rolls like champagne flutes. Because this is the soft part of revenge. The exhale. The ring hits the kitchen trash with a sound that feels louder than it should. A tiny clink like a coin dropped into silence. But in this moment, it's seismic. Sarah doesn't flinch. You're standing by the doorway holding your keys like a talisman, not sure if you should be witnessing this. But she invited you in, said she needed a moment with someone who wouldn't flinch. So here you are. She steps back from the trash can, brushes her hands together like she just took out something rotten. I thought it'd be more dramatic, she says. You glance at the trash. The ring sits on top of a crumpled receipt and an expired coupon for frozen yogurt. Fitting, honestly, she continues. I wore it through every lie, every fake smile, every night he came home late and called it stress. You stay quiet. She opens a drawer, pulls out a pair of nail scissors and snips her holiday card in half. The one from your mom with the matching pajamas. Then she snips her own face out of it. I'm keeping the kids' pictures, she mutters. They didn't lie. You laugh under your breath. You're terrifying. She shrugs. Grief and clarity share a wall. Then she turns to you, serious now. I don't want him to think I'm broken. You step closer. He will. Because people like him confuse silence with surrender. I'm not staying quiet anymore. You nod. Neither am I. She smiles genuinely this time. You know, if I ever get married again, I'm eloping. No cards. No hashtags. Just witnesses and good snacks. You grin. I'll bring dumplings. She nods once. Deal. Outside, the wind picks up. December's last gasp. Inside, a trash can holds a symbol of promises broken, and you both feel a little lighter. Because some endings don't need fireworks. Just the sound of letting go. You don't go to the next family dinner. There's no official disinvite, just silence, like a note never played. Your mom texts a photo of the table. Your name card is there untouched. But the seat is filled with a folded napkin and awkward absence. You text back. Maybe next year. She doesn't argue. The thing is, you don't feel vindictive. Not anymore. You don't even feel angry. You feel spacious. Like someone finally took the emotional garbage out and aired the place out. Daniel hasn't texted in days. His profile is still active, still married, still posting sunsets and family first quotes. But now people comment with side eyes. Quiet questions. You don't need to answer them. The silence beneath the noise speaks for itself. Sarah sends you a photo, her in new pajamas, holding her kids, smiling wide. Caption: our own version of tradition. You heart it. No comment needed. You start a new book. Not writing, reading. Something about found families and forgiveness. Not the neat kind. The messy, earned kind. Eli wraps an arm around you and asks, do you feel better? You answer honestly, I feel free. He smiles. That's what revenge should do. You nod, finally understanding. Because revenge isn't about fire. Not always. Sometimes it's about taking your story back. So you delete the last screenshots, empty the recycle bin, put away the file you once thought you'd need forever, and then you light a candle, cue up a sleepy playlist, and let the whole story fall behind you like snow that never stuck. Forgiveness isn't required, but closure, that's yours now. There's something about quiet revenge that feels more satisfying than a scream. You don't always need fireworks or fistfights. Sometimes it's enough to tell the truth slowly, thoroughly, without flinching, and let the silence do the rest. My brother outed me at Christmas dinner. He thought it was clever. He thought he controlled the story. But what he forgot is that truth has a long memory, and so do I. What started as humiliation ended in exposure, not of me, but of him. His affairs, his manipulation, his paper-thin apologies. And through it all, I didn't raise my voice. I just let the receipts speak. Sarah found her way out. She found her voice. And maybe that was the best part of all of it, not what I uncovered, but who I helped get free. We spend so much time trying to protect people who wouldn't protect us. We guard their secrets, cover for their lies, let their narratives dominate family photos and group chats. But sometimes the kindest thing you can do is stop enabling them. Step out of the way and let their mess hit the floor. So yeah, this revenge wasn't loud, but it was honest, and it was enough. Thank you for listening to my story, and if you liked it, if you really liked it, you know what to do.